Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console. Xbox, not Steam Deck. Xbox, not Steam Machine. Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news, Xbox, not Steam, news for the week of November 20th, 2025, including Black Ops 7 is not perfect, but it's way better than the internet wants you to believe. The Game Award nominees have been revealed for this year's show. The final content update for Halo Infinite is here. All that and more. On this day in Xbox history in the year 2000, 25 years ago, before the Xbox was out, Banjo-Tooie was released for the Nintendo 64, which is the last Banjo-Kazooie game worth a damn we ever got. It was for the Nintendo 64, and then Rare got purchased by Xbox from Nintendo, and then the Xbox was like, go make a game with building mechanics. And honestly, I don't hate Nuts and Bolts, 2008's Xbox 360's Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I actually don't hate that game at all. I think, honestly, if it was not a Banjo-Kazooie game, it would actually be a good game. But as a Banjo-Kazooie game, it's like, this is cool, but it's not what I wanted. In fact, I'll go as far as to say Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts would be a fine Banjo-Kazooie game if it came out as like a spin-off game during an era where we were getting a Banjo-Kazooie 3 and 4 and other things like that. So just something about it. It's like going through a drought for 8 years where there was no entry in the series. And then we got one in the HD era, and it was just like not Banjo-Kazooie. It was only them in name. But Banjo-Tooie, of course, a classic. Honestly, I only ever played through this game one time. I played the beginning of this game many times as a kid, but I only played through the entire game one time. And I do not remember Banjo-Tooie nearly as well as I remember the first game. But I do remember getting it very late in my time, growing up with the Nintendo 64. Like, this was like one of the last games I really ever played on the N64 before we kind of put that bitch up in storage and moved on to GameCube and PS2 and everything else, like in more of like a full force manner. So I don't know, Banjo-Tooie, I have good memories and feelings towards it, but I don't remember it nearly as well or as fondly as I remembered the first game, if I'm being completely honest. In fact, I'm a little ashamed to admit I probably played this the least of any Banjo-Kazooie game because I've played Nuts and Bolts on Xbox 360 more than this game. And I've also played, I forget what it was called, but there was a Banjo-Kazooie game on Game Boy Advance that was actually pretty good. I don't know, I don't remember what it's called, but it was actually really good. That game's pretty underrated. It's like a isometric Banjo-Kazooie game, and it was, honestly, I gotta see if there's a way I can access that. Maybe I'll illegally download. No, I'm just kidding. I probably still have a physical cartridge of that game somewhere. I don't know. It's a good one. Anyway, guys, let's talk about Xbox, let's talk about Steam Machine, let's talk about you and me. No notable game releases to really get into this week. I mean, listen, we're in the thick of it. It's the season to be playing all the new games. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 was the last like really big one, and then we got some stuff happening in December. But for now, let's take a week off. If you're in the States, it's of course we're coming up fast on Thanksgiving next week. The podcast will go live on Thanksgiving Day for those of you in the United States. For those of you in Canada, you already had your Thanksgiving. Calm down. Sit back down. But anyway, it's a little bit of a lull, before the holidays kind of ramp back up. And so we got a lot of new stuff to play. Black Ops 7 is obviously the hot game. And we will be talking about it a lot in this episode because I've been playing it a shit ton and I have a lot to say about it. But guys, before we get into all that, I actually, let me just preface with this still. I hesitate to say this because I know my mom's going to listen to this, and then I'm going to be at work tomorrow very busy, and then she's going to be blowing up my fucking phone, insisting that I have gout and cancer and COVID all at the same time, and freaking out for me to go to a doctor. But I don't know what's wrong, but I'm having the same problem I had last week. There's just something off about me. It's like, I thought I was sick, but I'm not sick, but I just feel very fatigued. Like my head just feels tired and weak. And I thought it was because I quit a medication I was taking cold turkey last week, but it's been like 8 or 9 days, and I still feel just the same. So, apologies. I have a lot of things I want to say about Black Ops 7. There's a lot in the news I'm excited to talk about, but I just gotta be honest, especially like this past week, after work when I get home, at 6:00 at night, I have zero energy. And right now it's like I'm like in my head, I have a lot I want to talk about. I'm excited to do the podcast, but I have almost no energy to do it. So just apologies in advance if the show's a little short this week, or if it just seems a little like I'm just not giving 110%. It's not that I don't care. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just fucking tired. If something doesn't change in the next couple of days, I'm probably gonna go see a doctor or something, because I suspect I don't fucking know. It might be because of my medication. I might want to go back on that. I don't, whatever. Anyway, that's not I'm not trying to fish for like worry or sympathy or anything like that. I'm just explaining because I suspect this podcast is going to be a little lower energy and more a little briefer than usually it is. So just get in front of it. Anyway, but not to worry, because I also want to talk to you about Ball Pit and other good shit. So let's just hop right into the news this week, guys. Starting with kind of a little bit of a like a presser, not a presser, but like a little warning, I guess. This show is going to go live hours before Xbox has a new partner preview showcase. So this week's episode will be immediately missing some important news that goes live late this week. So Xbox announced a partner preview game showcase for 1 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, November 20th. And they said that they're going to include news about upcoming games from partner publishers like IO Interactive, Tencent, and THQ Nordic, plus brand new reveals for Game Pass announcements and more. So they say we're going to see 007 First Light again at this event, which not again, this is actually pretty interesting because this game's already had a marketing beat at a PlayStation State of Play earlier this year. It had a PlayStation State of Play dedicated to this game earlier in the year, and now it's going to be at an Xbox partner preview. So I find that to be interesting. This game is going to play both sides of the field like that, marketing wise, which is a little unusual. They said that there's also going to be stuff about Tides of Annihilation, first look at Reanimal, blah 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 blah. I don't really give a shit about any of that other than 007 First Light, because that game looks fucking awesome. But anyway, we'll just no need to get into it, because by the time this podcast is out, chances are this presentation's already really happened for most of you listening. So we'll talk about this next week, but just know that's that. And then next week, I guess I'm going to have to record the podcast a day early or something, because I have family coming into town for Thanksgiving, and so I will probably not be available next Wednesday. So we'll probably not release the podcast early, but record the podcast early. I don't know yet. So just know that, whatever. We'll talk about this on next week's show once it's old news. But just a little preface there for something going on in the world of Xbox. And now we can get into the more proper news of the week, starting with a small, interesting one, which is that the nominees for the Game Awards 2025 have been revealed. The Game Awards will stream live from its traditional Peacock Theater location in Los Angeles, Los Angeles, California, on Thursday, December 11th. What is that, like 2 weeks after? How many weeks is that? 1, 2, 3 weeks from the day this goes live, featuring new game announcements, music performances, all the other bullshit they always do. We're just there for the game announcements, of course. Hopefully, maybe we see a tease at the next generation of Xbox. I still think there's like a 20 to 30% chance that this happens. But anyway, so these aren't all the categories, but some notable ones I want to talk about. Obviously, for Game of the Year itself, they have the nominees as Clair Obscur Expedition 33. That's reasonable. Death Stranding 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think it's a pretty solid slew of nominees, based on how, what the conversation was this year in terms of gaming. But I want to then go on and talk about how there's almost no Xbox representation on this list at all, despite the fact that Xbox put out like 1 million games this year. So Best Game Direction, Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yote, Hades, Split Fiction, no Xbox. Best Narrative, no Xbox. Best Art Direction, this is where it starts to like piss me off a little bit, because it's like, listen, I understand that these nominations are chosen by a bunch of gaming influencers and developers and media personnel that have like a large sway in on this, like, I don't even know if it's necessarily like a board, but it's like this committee, this like loose committee of people who have some sort of influence, whether they're developers or they work for IGN or they're a popular YouTuber or whatever, and they get to kind of be the ones to pick and choose the games that end up nominated. And then the audience gets to determine a little bit. It's like a small fraction of the vote is from people polling online, like people going to GameAwards.com and polling. So some of it is user input, but the 99% of this is like Kotaku and fucking and the dude from IGN that everyone's mad about, telling you what they think the best art direction is. So take all this with a grain of salt. Most of these people who work in games media are kind of, no disrespect, but whatever. Not that this podcast has any weight to its opinions either. It's just to say, who gives a shit what these people think, right? But art direction, I'm like, all right, you don't have to like South of Midnight. But South of Midnight probably deserves some recognition for its incredible art direction. Then you go to best score and music, and you're like, all right, South of Midnight kind of deserves some love for its score and music. Like, come the fuck on. No, it's not there. Best audio design. You're like, okay, come on. Fucking, maybe not audio design, but, because it's more music is what the specialty is. But like, something with ears and listening needs to be associated with South of Midnight. No? So audio design, score and music, art direction, all that stuff. The beautiful way that game looks and sounds basically just got swept under the fucking rug, and then the typical YouTube and games media it's so annoying, because it's like, this is the video game version of that Oscar bait shit. Listen, no disrespect to Supergiant Games and Hades. Hades was not my kind of game, but I totally see why it's a cool game. But I'm so sick and tired of, like, you see a game like Hades or you see a game like Hollow Knight, and it's just such obvious fucking, like, whatever Oscar bait, the equivalent of Oscar bait is for the Game Awards, that's what these games like are. And it's like, I'm not saying that the game is made to cater to that audience, but I'm saying anytime you see a game like one of these games, you just fucking know. You just fucking know the Kotakus and the Game Informers and the IGNs are gonna be like, Hollow Knight, oh, it's so, I grew up on SNES. And then it's like, you see something like South of Midnight, which, listen, I'll admit, if I work for IGN, I'm going to say South of Midnight is like a 6 out of 10. It is not a phenomenal game by any stretch of the imagination, but its art direction, its art style, its music, its original score, its original soundtrack are culturally and artistically some of the most impressive things I've seen in a video game in so fucking long. And you're telling me all the fucking Ethan Gack type motherfuckers in the world are just gonna gloss over that game because the Xbox hate boner that exists in media, and we're just gonna go, Hollow Knight 2. All right, dude. This is why the Game Awards has no fucking credibility outside of being an event people watch because they want to see a new game get announced, or they want to see Xbox reveal a new console, or they want to see fucking Hulk Hogan's dead corpse dug up so he can reveal the best fucking live action adaptation of a Minecraft movie for this year. Like that's what we're there for. We're not there to take any of these people's like critical opinions seriously, because, dude, you gotta be, I'm sorry, this is not me being an Xbox fanboy. This is me being a fan of art. Like, you can't snub South of Midnight for art direction, score, and music, and audio design. It's like, it just belongs in one of those categories, whether you like the game or not, whether you think the combat's good or not, whether you think the story was strong or not. Dude, come the fuck on. But of course, they got to throw a bone, because you can't have zero Xbox representation. You got to at least pretend like you somewhat give a shit about Xbox. So here we go. Best performance, Troy Baker in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That's one of the nominees. That's such a fucking jerk-off answer. I mean, it's like, Troy Baker is like one of the 4 voice actors in all of video games, and everyone in fucking video games media is constantly jerking themselves off. Troy Baker for the millionth time. So it's like, all right, listen, there's no denying he did a fantastic job portraying a young Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Everyone agrees he did a great job, but it's like, this is like the first time we're seeing Xbox representation is just to give Troy Baker credit for the 8 trillionth fucking time. It's like, okay. All right. And then you move on to innovation in accessibility. It's like, okay, there's something cool. We get some Xbox representation. We got Doom the Dark Ages, South of Midnight, but this is such a fucking stupid award. It's like, listen, I'm not trying to be an ass, but it's like, nobody gives a shit. This is one of those performative awards. It's like, it doesn't actually mean anything. It's just like, come on, man. You're gonna ignore the beautiful original folk music of South of Midnight. You're gonna ignore that stunning artistic style with the 24 frame hand-drawn style of that game, and just gloss over it and say, nah, fuck the visual style of that game. But I guess we'll give it credit for its innovation in accessibility. What does that even mean? Is that because it's one of those games that has a arachnophobia mode where you can turn it on in case some fucking little snowflake is afraid of spiders in a game? Like, Come the fuck on, man. This game deserves better than that. Then they have Games for Impact. And this is, of course, the games media always being a bunch of fucking, like, San Francisco white dudes. They're like, oh, we got to nominate the game about the black girl. So South of Midnight ends up being nominated for that. It's like, dude, I have no problem with South of Midnight being nominated for Games for Impact. But what I do have a problem with is South of Midnight being nominated for Games for Impact and then immediately being snubbed and ignored for art direction, sound design, music, score, whatever. Like, that is that game. Like, if you really want to stop being a performative little asshole and pretend like you give a shit about Southern black culture, and like Gothic Southern literature and things like that, and you want to show respect for this culture and this genre and this history, you would give this game a nomination for something it's deserving of, like its beautiful music, and not just the performative, Games for Impact, it's a story about a young black woman and we're a bunch of white dudes in San Francisco that have to prove to you that we care about the right things and we're against the bad. It's like, come on, dude. That's an insult to this game. That's an insult. Again, I'm not saying this game can't be nominated for Games for Impact. I think that's great. But for it to only be nominated for that, that's a fucking middle finger. All right. I got an issue with that one. All right. Then we go to Indie Game. Reasonably so. No Xbox. That's fine. You got some good hits in there like Ball Pit, Clair Obscur, of course, Hollow Knight and Hades 2. That's fine. Of course. Debut indie titles. Okay. Clair Obscur is definitely going to win that one. I think Clair Obscur is going to clean up at the Game Awards this year, which is totally fair, totally fine. I wanted to play that game very badly. I did not get around to it, but I am certain that it is at least half as great as people are saying it is, and I know people loved it, so great to see that game getting a lot of love and praise. And then we get Best Action Game. Okay, here's a little bit of Xbox love. Best Action Game, we got Doom the Dark Ages, and then we got Ninja Gaiden 4, which is, of course, a second-party game for Xbox this year. So there's a little bit of Xbox love. Battlefield 6, reasonably so, is nominated here as well. And then Best Action/Adventure Game, Indiana Jones is nominated here as one of the 5 nominees. Okay, cool. And then Best RPG, I think this is again a little bit of like a obligatory kind of performative, like it's like, okay, we can't ignore Xbox this hard. So Best RPG of Obsidian gets not 1 but 2 nominees in the Best RPG category. One for Avowed, which we all know is not going to win, and then the second one for Outer Worlds 2, which, to be honest, I don't think Outer Worlds 2 is going to get the win either. I think Clair Obscur or Kingdom Come Deliverance are absolutely going to get the win on this. So, again, there's your little consolation nomination for Xbox by just telling Obsidian to fuck off while they basically give the whole awards ceremony to games like Clair Obscur. Best multiplayer, no Xbox here at all. Good to see, of course. Battlefield 6 is probably going to win that one, or Arc Raiders. Probably Arc Raiders, because Battlefield 6 is like the multiplayer game that everyone wanted to play this year, and Arc Raiders is like the multiplayer game that a lot of people wanted to play this year, but especially terminally online hardcore video game fans. So I think that game's just really cool with the in crowd. So that game is probably definitely going to get that award. And then Best Adaptation, Xbox gets a nominee here for the Minecraft movie, which I will immediately stop talking about because I don't give a shit about the Minecraft movie. And then the last award here worth mentioning is Most Anticipated Game, so games coming out next year. And we got 007 First Light, which I think looks awesome. Grand Theft Auto 6, which of course everyone's excited for. That game's no doubt going to get that award. Marvel's Wolverine, which also looks awesome. Resident Evil Requiem, which also looks awesome, but I did not play Village, so I'm behind on that. And then Witcher 4, which is Witcher 4 supposed to come out next year? I thought the game was multiple years off. Why is Witcher 4 nominated? There's no way that game is coming out in 2026. I just don't believe that for a single second. But anyway, that is me getting, saying I don't give a shit about the nominees for the Game Awards, followed by me immediately getting heated by the nominees and lack of specific games nominated for the Game Awards. I'm sorry. Listen, South of Midnight, I'll tell you right straight up, it is not my favorite game of this year. But I love South of Midnight a lot. It is definitely a top 3 game in terms of games I played this year that really stuck with me and resonated with me and that I really appreciated. While that game has a lot of shortcomings and overall is not an excellent game, it is a very good game with a lot worth admiring and appreciating about it. And in a lot of ways, it's very unique and one of a kind. And that's what frustrates me is South of Midnight is a game that deserves a lot of respect and appreciation for the things it gets right. And because it's an Xbox game, it gets that Xbox tax where it's like, no, fuck this game. Just forget about it. It's not a PlayStation game, which, let's be honest, I don't think PlayStation would ever make a game like this because they usually put out games that are not of a higher quality, but are more of a safe hit. You know what I mean? Like I don't think PlayStation would make a game that is this risky in terms of what kind of game it is, because this game is mechanically it's outdated, and I don't think PlayStation would make a game like that today. But anyway, we'll shut up about it. I loved South of Midnight. I love that game a lot. I just hate seeing it get treated the way it's being treated here, and it just reminds me how much I really mostly don't like games media and the people who have a lot of the voice and power in that space. Although they're not all bad. Listen, they're still. I used to be an IGN stan back when they had some better talent over there, and there's still some outlets that have some good people. And it's not like I hate them all, but it's just they're so predictable, man. They're so fucking predictable sometimes. Anyway, let's move on to news that actually matters in the world of Xbox. Let's talk about Sarah Bond. So this is from PureXbox.com, who relay that Sarah Bond was in an interview with Fortune magazine. I guess a video interview on their YouTube page. And Sarah Bond had particularly interesting response about redefining the identity over at Xbox. Now, I watched the clips from this interview, and I thought it was a very big nothing sandwich kind of interview where Sarah Bond does the thing most Xbox execs do, where they just kind of say a whole lot of nothing, and it's stuff we've heard before, and it kind of means nothing because they always say one thing and do another, so who gives a shit what an Xbox executive says? But nonetheless, so after spending a fair bit of the interview discussing the idea of playing anywhere and accessing your Xbox games across multiple devices, when she was questioned about leading the brand through the such a shift after multiple decades of being a console-focused company, and ultimately whether there's been some resistance towards that, she said that the response in her response, she says that it can be hard changing anything when so many passionate fans, blah, 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 whatever. That's always what they say. So here's what the host says. I'll just read verbatim. Quote, "You're leading this legacy brand that's actually currently redefining itself. When you're steering a ship from a decades-long console identity, which is what Xbox has long been known for, towards this service-first model that you've talked about, what have you learned about leading through cultural change, through organizational change, and even perhaps resistance that comes with this along because it's new and it's different?" And Sarah responds and says, "Xbox is a brand that people have counted on for almost 25 years now. People who play Xbox love Xbox. Our players deeply care about what Xbox is. It has tons of meaning for them, and so changing it is hard, right?" She does that thing that people always say in business when they go right after something they say, where that there are things that are coming in the future that you need to invest in to help ensure the long-term health and growth of a brand, but you also know that there are players who really love what is right now. So how does Team Xbox handle this? Apparently, it's being measured through a ton of feedback, both in terms of Xbox fans and what they're saying. So Xbox president goes on to explain that feedback is continually being incorporated into current day and future plans for the brand, saying the number one way that we talk about this as a team is we recognize that people love what we do, and that's why you get so much passion, and that's why you get so much feedback, and then you listen to the feedback and continually incorporate it into what we're doing so that we're sure we're investing in the things that people love now, but also that we know that people are going to love in the future. And then relentlessly look at the core metrics of the health and of the business. How many people are playing? What are the hours that they play? What are the people buying? What are the people subscribing to? And listen to both of what they say, and not only that, but also listen to what they do and how they behave as we're continually making changes, and then adjust and learn along the way. So anyway, then it goes on about Xbox Play Anywhere, Windows PCs, and all that. And she mentions how Playing Anywhere was essentially shelved for a while as an idea, that initiative, until the team saw that there was a good amount of interest generated for a service like that. And she says, so we're looking at the combination of signals to prioritize what matters most and to ensure that we're executing on them over time. So again, a whole lot of nothing, basically saying like, hey, you're taking everything Xbox is known for and throwing it out the window and doing something else. How do you explain that? And she basically says, change is hard. People love our brand, but we are trying to do what's best for the future. We're future-proofing the Xbox brand, but also we are trying to cater to our fans who love us for something we used to be that we're more or less shedding. And so I think that's really all there is to take away from this, is that it's kind of Sarah Bond in a way saying nothing like a lot of executives do in these interviews, but also kind of acknowledging that they are stepping away from everything that we know Xbox to be, and basically saying, hey, we have to do this. It's not because we want to, it's because we have to. And to that I say, yeah, but you didn't have to do it this fast and this suddenly, and you didn't have to lie along the whole way, and you didn't have to talk out of both sides of your mouth and constantly be contradicting yourself. Not Sarah Bond, but the whole leadership team at Xbox. And also, I just want to give as a side note, a shout out to Sarah Bond. Her interviews are way easier to read in transcript than Phil Spencer, because Phil Spencer always talks like, the way he talks is very conversational, but it's very like, I don't know, he's always just like, you know how it is when you're a gamer and you think of the things, and we know what those things are for the gamer. And then when they play the games, they want the tools and assets that we put into the love of the game. But when the game has, and I'll just say this now, it's like you're just reading a Phil Spencer quote. You're like, what is he saying? But Sarah Bond's a lot more deliberate and direct. So appreciate you, Sarah Bond. You're easier to read in transcript than Phil Spencer. I don't know why he talks so casually and conversationally, that sexy ass man. Anyway, guys, there's really nothing to talk about here. There's other clips from the interview. They talk about the PC hybrid console that Xbox is inevitably working on, and she more or less just outright acknowledges and says, hey, we're doubling down on hardware. We're dedicated to hardware. We have a next-gen console in the works. It's going to be super powerful, and kind of says the things she said about this device many times before. But the thing is, I understand that things will have to change inevitably, and that the direction that Xbox is headed in is likely the direction that one day PlayStation will be headed in. But I just think Xbox accelerated this future for themselves way faster than they needed to. And I think that in doing so, they may have dug their own grave, because again, it's like how people always talk about, like, oh, Microsoft was actually really ahead of the curve and they beat everyone to smartphones. There were Windows type phones and Microsoft phones in the early 2000s that were like PDA planners and email devices and all these things, and they failed and nobody cared about them. And then years later, the iPhone comes around and suddenly that's the hot shit. Or Microsoft made tablets in the 90s and nobody gave a shit about them. And then Apple came around at the right time with the iPad, and the iPad is what it is today. And it's just one of those things where it's like, we get it. Timing is everything. Microsoft is usually too early to things. And I think, they're playing with fire here, because in being too early to the whole future where we move away from home consoles and it's more subscription model based, it's more PC hybrid based and all that, all you're really doing is putting Xbox in a dire situation where they could disappear as a brand and go away entirely, because they went into this inevitable future, but into this future way too preemptively. In a time where the market wasn't ready for it, and all they're going to do then is just bury this brand and destroy it, everything they've worked for 25 years. And I think that's the important part that, of course, Microsoft's never going to acknowledge, but that's the real concern we all have here. Speaking of burying things and, ignoring them and letting them die and wither away, Halo Infinite has received its final major content update this week. It's called Operation Infinite, which is about an 8 gigabyte download or so on Xbox consoles. The details are that Operation Infinite will bring 2x boost to career rank and progress for Spartan Point rewards. The operation will also come with a premium pass of over 200 never before released armor pieces in its exchange drop, a new Yuletide map for the Husky Raid Quick Play playlist, a new vacancy map for a select ranked modes, and the arrival of more ranked seasons have come along this update. In addition, it's been promised that we're getting a rotational selection of daily and weekly challenges, along with more ranked seasonal content for 2026, and it will likely extend into 2027 as well. So, as they say, throughout next year and beyond. So it looks like Halo Infinite will get obviously continued support moving forward. But as far as like new maps, new guns, new, shit, like new serious like seasonal content updates, no, it's the game is reached its end. Literally nothing more ironic than a game called Halo Infinite coming to an end with a final update called Operation Infinite. But we talked about this a little bit last week. This game is a failure. Not a failure in the sense of it's not fun, because the campaign is actually a fucking blast. The multiplayer is a blast. It's a failure not because it didn't sell or anything. It's a failure because this game completely lacks the identity and the integrity of a Halo game, and everything about what they try to do with this game, they really fell short of. And it's just an absolute shame to see 343, go from making excellent Halo games that rubbed some people the wrong way, like Halos 4 and 5, to just making a Halo game that rubbed everyone the wrong way in Halo Infinite. And now here we are, 4 years removed, and we got nothing to show for it, except we're just remaking the first Halo for the trillionth time for PlayStation people, not even for Xbox. Yes, it's coming to Xbox, but we're not doing it because of Xbox. We're doing it because of PlayStation. So I'm so glad that that's where we're left with Halo. So ironically, Halo Infinite is in a large way the most finite Halo, because it's the one that's at risk to become the most, the most ephemeral, as it was pitched as this live service ongoing project that never went beyond a underbaked base content package at launch. And it's just it's been narratively a complete clusterfuck, and in terms of continuous content support, it's just been underwhelming to say the very least. So Halo Infinite, you're a great game, I love you, but I also fucking hate you. And I'm sad that this game is ending on a whimper. I held on to Halo 5 for a long time towards its end, and then for years after. But Halo Infinite, it's not that I hate you. It's not that I'll never play you again. I want to go back and play this game again one day. But I need a nice long break from you. A long break from you. Bring on the alcohol and the memories of Halo 3 again, please. All right. Anyway, so that's Halo Infinite. Rest in peace, I guess. Red Dead Redemption 2, this is a quick one here. Rockstar's officially confirmed that it's coming to Xbox Series S and X. Now, of course, this game's already backwards compatible. This has more to do with bringing the game to other platforms like PlayStation 5 and Switch. But it's cool to know that if you already own the game on Xbox One or Xbox 360, you'll be able to upgrade to a corresponding current gen version of Series X for free. And it will add 4K, 60 FPS gameplay, enhanced HDR support. So a nice quality of life update there for Xbox players, and another way to buy this game if you're on other competing platforms. All right, Bandai Namco announces Tales of Berseria. This one just came out earlier before I started recording. Tales of Berseria from the Tales series, was it Namco, right? Yeah, Bandai Namco is getting a remake, and it's coming to Xbox for the first time. So Tales of Berseria will be on Xbox Series consoles on February 27th, this next year, 26. The game will first release back in 2016, so it'll be about 10 years after its original release. It was originally only released on PlayStation 4 and PC. It came to PC like a year after the PlayStation version. It received pretty good reviews at the time. This is seen as one of the more controversial Tales games, though, not because it's a bad game, but because it was a departure visually from its aesthetic. It's one of the, I think there's two of them, of the Tales games that's kind of like seen as like a different style visually for the series. And then in 2021, when they came out with Tales of Arise, it kind of had a return to form to the series' traditional art style. And that game was on Xbox, but this game that we're getting here, Tales of Berseria, this was never on Xbox, so it'll be a first time for the platform, which is exciting. There's a $40 and a $60 version of the game. The $60 version comes with a bunch of nonsense you don't need, because that's how video games are sold today. But yeah, for $40, it's cool to see that Xbox players will finally have access to this Japanese role-playing title from last decade. Although, not to say that I'm any help, it does seem like a lot of these Japanese games trying to make a comeback on Xbox or make an imprint on the Xbox platform are kind of falling flat and failing. So maybe we need to put our money where our mouth is and help these games. But I probably won't be picking this game up. There's just too much competition, and I just don't care about this game enough to make room for it in my schedule. So sorry. Looks cool. I appreciate that's coming to Xbox. I hope some of you out there are looking forward to that. All right, guys. Is that really it? Why did I think there was more news this week? Anyway, let's wrap up the news. I just want to get to the part where we talk about Black Ops 7 and Ball Pit, to be honest. Let's wrap up the news, you guys, with some Game Pass updates. So this week, Game Pass Ultimate's recently teased and promised feature has come to fruition, which is that Fortnite Crew is now available for Game Pass Ultimate members. As a reminder, this gives you access to the current Battle Pass, OG Pass, Lego Pass, and Music Pass, in addition to getting 1,000 V-Bucks each month while you're subscribed. So this is really important. If you are a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber for $30 a month, you now also get, as a new added perk, 1,000 V-Bucks every month, which is like $10 in V-Bucks. okay. Plus the battle pass. I mean, that's like I don't know, what is that, like $20 in Fortnite value every fucking month, included in Game Pass? That's a huge deal. Again, I want to go back to what I said when they raised the prices of Game Pass about a month or so ago, and everyone was like, "Oh, Game Pass isn't worth the money anymore. It's a ripoff." It's like, no. I want to double down on something I said. Game Pass Ultimate is absolutely an excellent value. At $30, it is still an excellent value. I think it's gotten to the point where for people like me, it's just too much of a service. It's just not how I want to interact with games. But there's no denying Game Pass is still an excellent value, especially when you consider Fortnite is just one of the absolute biggest fucking games. And what is it? It's like 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 people on Xbox play Fortnite anyway. So listen, chances are either you or someone in your house gives a shit about Fortnite, and this is a huge added perk for your Game Pass subscription. There's no doubt about it. It's also really crazy and really cool to see that Xbox is making some moves with Epic. Because, Fortnite content in Game Pass, plus Fortnite just became a play anywhere backwards compatible game. They brought Fortnite to the Xbox PC app. It's available there. It's the only place other than the Epic Game Store app that Fortnite is available on PC. Fortnite is not available on Steam. This is a huge win for Xbox, especially as you consider Xbox trying to do their PC hybrid console thing. They're going to have Call of Duty. They're going to have Fortnite. They're going to have all these things on that platform that you don't have on Steam. And now, before you write in and say, but Jesse, Call of Duty is on Steam. Yes, but apparently, and I heard this very recently, apparently there are issues where Call of Duty doesn't run on the Steam Deck and probably won't run on the Steam machine due to the anti-cheat software that the game is required to run and how that can't work with a Linux-based software. So it doesn't work on Steam machine or Steam Deck. So if that's true, that means Xbox's hybrid console will be the only hybrid PC console where you can play Fortnite and Call of Duty. And that's a huge fucking win for Xbox, honestly. So just want to give that as a shout out. But anyway, here are our monthly updates for Game Pass. So coming to the service soon, some of these are actually as of this week. Moonlighter 2, The Endless Vault, is a day one Game Pass game. Culebra, I don't fucking know. And The Soul of Limbo is a new Game Pass Premium title for Cloud Console and PC. Revenge of the Savage Planet comes to Game Pass in its Premium Pass tier for the first time. Monsters Are Coming, Rock and Road, it comes to Game Pass PC and console. The Crew Motorfest comes to Game Pass Ultimate PC and PC Game Pass on November 20th. So all those games I just announced or I read will all be included in Game Pass as of the time you're listening to this podcast. And then coming soon on the 25th of November, you get Banishers Ghost of New Eden and Kill It With Fire 2. I think, dude, Banishers Ghost of New Eden, that's a great get for Game Pass. I wanted to play that game. That's going to be some more good value. And then Lost Recorders Bloom of Rage on December 2nd. Now, I want to go back up a little bit to December 1st. There is a game that just kind of quietly got announced for Game Pass as a day one Game Pass title that previously has not been known to be a Game Pass game, but is a hotly anticipated game. And that is Marvel Cosmic Invasion. So when this comes out on December 1st, this will be a day one Game Pass game, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. So what a great, great get, honestly, for Game Pass. $30 a month. I mean, you're fucking playing Black Ops 7 and Marvel Cosmic Invasion and Outer Worlds 2, and you're getting all these V-Bucks and shit. Like, you cannot tell me for a fucking second that ain't worth $30, because it absolutely is. Ninja Gaiden 4 and all the rest. I mean, Game Pass is still an excellent value. Marvel Cosmic Invasion, this is a game I'm actually really looking forward to. I already have it wish listed, ready to go on Switch 2, which I've decided is the platform where I will play that, because it's just the Switch 2 Pro controller will just be so much better for side-scroller beat 'em up than the Xbox controller. So that's where I'm going to be playing this game. But I'm very, very much looking forward to that game. In fact, that game comes out in less than 2 weeks. About a week and a half. I'm very much looking forward to this game. Why the fuck does this game come out on a Monday? What in the goddamn world of Kevin Feige's fucking Del Taco fiery asshole? Who decided that Marvel Cosmic Invasion should come out on a goddamn Monday? That is, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be derogatory, but that is quite literally boys kissing boys. That is gay. That is so stupid, dude. I'm really looking for this game. Why the fuck is it coming out on Monday? God, if you're going to put it out on a weird day, at least do like what Nintendo used to do and release it on a Sunday or something so I can skip church, sleep in, and play Marvel Cosmic. Anyway, the game looks really great. It will be out soon. Game Pass gives it an easier way to access more value for your subscription. I don't want to fucking hear that Game Pass Ultimate isn't a good value. It's an incredible value. I'm still not subscribing to it. I'm happy with my Essential tier, but great for subscribers that you're going to get that, happy for you. And then on November 30th, the following games are leaving Game Pass on cloud, console, and PC, so give them a go before they're gone. Barbie Project Friendship, everyone's favorite. Lords of the Fallen, Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, and then SteamWorld Build. So you got yourself about 10 more days before these games are off of Game Pass. So get some more value out of your $30 for the month. And that's going to do it for the news, you guys. I'm going to take a quick water break. Let's come right back. I want to tell you all about what I've been playing. I'm very excited to get into the Black Ops 7 conversation. So let's get there. All right. That was like a 4-minute break as a little behind the scenes treat, but I'm feeling like 200% better because I realized I was like, God, I hate talking about like my personal health and stuff because I don't want to be one of those people that's like, oh, give me attention, I'm not feeling good. But then I was like, you know what? I've been meaning for like 5 days now to just hold down the fucking home button on my phone and ask AI, hey, could the reason why my head's feeling so fatigued be because I quit taking anxiety medicine? And literally immediately she's like, yeah, if you stop taking your anxiety medicine, cold stop, you're probably going to feel symptoms like, and she goes on to explain literally everything I'm feeling right now. So great news. I'm fine. I just got to go back to taking my pills. I stopped taking them because I felt like they weren't doing shit for me. So anyway, well, now I know they are doing something for me. They're making me dependent on medicine that isn't doing anything for me other than preventing me from now having headaches and fatigue, but we're all good. That's a great feeling. I feel like honestly, I feel a huge weight off my shoulders because I was a little worried. I was like, God damn it. Black Ops 7 just came out. Am I going to have to go to a doctor? And they're going to, they do the thing where they're like, oh, we don't know what's wrong with you. You're going to have to go to a specialist. And you go to the specialist and you pay all these deductibles. And that was stressing me out. So I feel really fucking great right now, knowing that I probably just got to take a little bit of Lexapro for a little bit to wean off instead of quitting cold turkey. That's good shit. Good revelation. And now I can go back to just caring about Black Ops 7 like a normal human. But there's one more thing to feel woes me about, and that is what I've been eating. Because before I can tell you about what I've been playing this week, guys, I got to tell you about what I've been eating. And I want to give a little rest in peace because yesterday, as of the time I'm recording this, I got a really heartbreaking email. I'm trying to talk about this without choking up, honest to God. But yeah, I got this email and then I went online and I saw, because I follow the Orlando subreddit and I follow the Tampa subreddit. I don't know why. I actually end up reading a lot of Orlando and Tampa Bay subreddit because I'm a fucking idiot. And I was actually a little hardened to see that so many of my fellow Central Floridian friends and neighbors are going through a similar pain and grief that I just began experiencing as a result of this email. And so without further ado, I will explain what the email was. Kroger delivery is shutting down in the state of Florida. They are pulling out, full stop. My understanding is that they were in the greater Orlando area, the greater Tampa area, and Jacksonville as well, I think. And they are pulling out of the state, full stop. And so a little bit of background. So a lot of you on the East Coast probably know what Kroger is. I think they're from Ohio. They're an Ohio-based grocery store chain. Kroger's great. Growing up in Georgia, Kroger's fucking fantastic because you have all the big players. You got, fuck like the smaller ones and the Winn-Dixies and the Piggly Wigglies and whatever the fuck. You got Kroger, you got Publix, you got Walmart, and you got Target. And I feel like all four of those stores have like an equal presence in the state of Georgia. So like they're all in constant competition. So don't get me wrong. If you live anywhere in the Southeast United States, we all know Publix is a fantastic grocery store. They're clean, they're beautiful, their bakery's amazing, their deli's amazing, their sandwiches are amazing. It's a great store. Customer service is awesome. But the thing about Publix is it is outrageous. And it is, oh my God, living in Florida these past 6 years, I have a bone to pick with Publix because it is so ungodly expensive. I'm talking like things you would buy at like a Kroger or a Walmart will be literally more than double the price at Publix just because fuck you, it's Publix. And it's like, it's bad. So, a couple of years ago, my girlfriend and I switched from Publix because you can't go to Walmart in Central Florida because the state of Florida is fucking insane, and every Walmart is like Black Friday 24/7. So I love Walmart. I love Walmart dearly. You can't shop at Walmart if you live in Florida because, and if you're a Floridian and you don't know what I'm talking about, dude, just go anywhere else in this godforsaken country and go to a Walmart and you'll realize how insane your fucking Walmarts are in the state. So Walmart's just not an option if you live in the state of Florida. Publix is a great store. It's just way too expensive to justify. So a few years ago, and I love Target, but our closest Target is it's not what in the 90s they would have called a super Target. It's not, the one with like the grocery and everything. Our Target is like a classic Target. So it's mostly focused on like the clothes and the home goods and the electronics, and it has a small grocery section but not like a full-blown grocery section. So we can't really lean on Target. We'll go there because there's one right next to our house. We'll go there for like a few things here and there, but you can't like reliably grocery shop at Target where we live. So really that leaves us with one other option, and it's Aldi. And we love Aldi. I love Aldi. I love Aldi a lot. It's super affordable. I think Aldi's brands are pretty good. Aldi is a popular German budget grocery store chain, which apparently people hate it in Europe. Apparently they're like not good, but in the States, they're actually pretty good. It's like completely different the way they operate. But I love Aldi. I've enjoyed saving tons and tons of money on groceries the past 3 to 4 years, shopping almost exclusively at Aldi's. But Aldi it's the Florida thing again, man. It's like if I go to an Aldi's back home in Georgia, it's like I'll walk in and like there's a couple people in the store, and some people are shopping, and some people are working, and some people are chattering among themselves in their party at a regular indoor volume. But if I go to Aldi in the state of Florida, doesn't matter if it's fucking 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m., doesn't matter what fucking time. If it's 2 minutes before the store closes, 12 hours into the day, it doesn't matter. You go to an Aldi in Florida, you're fucking fighting to find a parking space. All the carts are taken. Everyone's screaming in 47 languages. All the fucking shelves are wiped out like a hurricane's coming to town. It's just dirty everywhere. It's inexplicably dirty everywhere for no reason. And just it's not a good experience. So great place to get your groceries, save a ton of money, but you have to contend with a lot of the general public here, and that's just something I hope and pray I never have to do again. So we switched over to Kroger delivery. I've been trying to wear my girlfriend down for over a year on this, like saying, hey babe, let's pay the $70 a year or whatever it costs to get Kroger delivery, because Kroger, the grocery store, is not in the state of Florida. But they do have these warehouses where you can order online. Then they have like these robots in the warehouse that put your order together, and then humans ship them in refrigerated cargo vans to your house. And it's a delivery service. It's not like Instacart where some fucking snot-nosed teenager in a fucking Nissan Altima drops off your shattered eggs at your door from Walmart. It's like the Kroger team does the whole thing stem to stern. It's awesome. And so I finally wore her down a few months ago, and we started doing Kroger delivery. It's like $60 or $70. And then what that gives you is just a waived delivery fee for a full year. And then you're not supposed to tip the drivers either. It's like one of those, like, it's like Amazon. It's like you pay for Prime, you get Prime shipping. It's like you pay for Kroger delivery, you get Kroger shipping. And then you can just download the app, order your groceries, have them delivered to your house within like 6 hours, and all the groceries are fresh. The produce is great. Everything is fantastic. And most importantly, the prices are good. It's way better than Publix. It's way cheaper than Publix. And it's like zero hassle, great prices. It's literally too good to be true. Kroger's delivery is like way too good to be true. And like, I always got to emphasize, because like I am not, like, one thing I resent about my generation is one of the ways my generation works so tirelessly to be permanently poor is by leaning too heavily on like the DoorDashes and the Ubers and all the subscription and the services that are designed to entice you to spend money, be a lazy glut, and not get off your fucking ass. I did not subscribe to Kroger delivery because I want to be a lazy asshole. I subscribe because I need affordable groceries, and I am terrified to go out in public in the state of Florida because it's just too crazy everywhere you go. And it has just been a blissful past month or two having Kroger delivery. Finally, we tried it out a couple of times during COVID, and it was great. I loved it. And my girlfriend's like, I don't want to spend the money on it. And then I finally got her after all this time. I was like, let's just get Kroger delivery. It's been an excellent past couple weeks, past month or so. And then we get the fucking email. They say, hey, we're pulling out of the state of Florida. I'm like, fuck you, Kroger, dude. Fuck you so hard. Fuck you so hard in the butt, Kroger, really, quite literally. So We're probably gonna have to go. I think it's like a month or two left before they leave completely. So we're gonna have a couple more weeks of Kroger deliveries, and then we're gonna have to go back, get our fucking hazmat suits, and go back and face the general public of the state of Florida again at Aldi's. And so I need you all to pray for me and wish me well. But that's I guess what I've been eating is my groceries from Kroger. But that is not long for this world. So just want to give a shout out to you, Kroger. Also, I just miss a lot of Kroger brand items that I won't be able to get now that Kroger is going to be 100% out of the state of Florida. They literally just came to Florida around the time I moved here, and now they're leaving. So it's like, fuck me, I guess. Kroger has awesome ice cream. They have good produce, lots of good stuff about Kroger, and well, fuck me, we're back to Aldi. Anyway, I'm gonna stop thinking about it because I don't need to cry. Maybe I do need that Lexapro after all. Anyway, that's it for what I've been eating. Now, without further ado, I know there's all of zero of you who give a shit because there's nothing more popular in gaming right now than hating on Call of Duty Black Ops 7. But I want to talk to you guys about what it is I've been playing. It's 2 games, but we're mostly talking about Black Ops 7. So let's just get into it without further ado. This is one I definitely should have taken notes on because I have a lot to say about this game. And I know just going off the cuff like I'm about to do, I'm going to forget a lot of things I want to say. And then tomorrow when the podcast is already live, I'm going to go, fuck, I meant to bring that up. Ah, shit, I want to talk about that too. So whatever, but we'll just, I'll just try to off the cuff cover it in a way that sounds meaningful to me right now. So I've been hyped about Black Ops 7. You guys know if you've been listening to the podcast lately, I'm not team love Battlefield, hate Call of Duty because it's what the internet told me to believe. Battlefield 6 is an excellent game. I love Battlefield 6. And surprise, surprise, Black Ops 7 is an awesome game, and I love Black Ops 7. This is such a bittersweet Call of Duty for me because everything you have seen about this game's campaign is true. The campaign in this game is absolute horseshit. Like, it is offensive. This game is not good from a campaign perspective. But the weird thing is, everything outside of that is so good. This new endgame mode that's a PvE experience, awesome. The multiplayer, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, probably the best Call of Duty multiplayer since the original Black Ops 2 13 years ago. Like, it's that good. It's very good multiplayer. The zombies, I haven't put too much time into it, so I don't want to speak too preemptively, but very good. At the very least, aesthetically and tonally, they nail zombies after years now. It's been like 5 years of them where the zombies mode is fun, but it doesn't look and feel like zombies. This zombies looks and feels like zombies, and it's innovative and it's creative and it pushes the game forward. It is, if this is, I just want to say this as a quick summation before we break it down. If Black Ops 7 just did a Call of Duty Black Ops 4 move, this would literally be a top 5 Call of Duty. It is so good. And what I mean by Black Ops 4 is Black Ops 4 famously is the only Call of Duty game that doesn't have a campaign because the campaign was a hot mess behind the scenes and was falling apart. So they ended up scrapping it. And that game ended up just being multiplayer, zombies, and Blackout, which was their war zone, their battle royale mode. And I think if this game was just multiplayer zombies and then this PvE endgame Avalon mode that they've introduced with no campaign, I would say that this game is like right up there with Black Ops 1 and 2 and like all those great Call of Duties because it is such a breath of fresh air. It is a really, really good Call of Duty for many reasons. But that campaign is absolute ass. I mean, this is like if you met the most beautiful woman in the entire world and you're like, oh my God, I will kill my firstborn child to have this woman acknowledge my existence. And then you talk to that girl and she opens up her mouth. She's like smiles at you, and then she opens up her mouth, and her teeth are covered in horse shit or something like that. It's like, oh my God, how did you do something so incredibly vile to something that is otherwise so beautiful? And that is what this game is like. It's such a conflicting game, really. So now we can break it down and get a little more specific. So I left work early on launch on New Zealand Day. So the game came out last Friday. On Thursday, I left work early. I said, guys, I'm taking a fucking half day. I'll be here Saturday to do some back end shit. I'm leaving early. I went home around noon, and I switched my Xbox over to New Zealand. If you don't know, there's a trick where with Call of Duty where you can always just change your Xbox to New Zealand the day before Call of Duty comes out because they're a day ahead of us, and so therefore they can play the game before we can over in the States. So I did that. I hopped on the game. And I expected to jump right into multiplayer, but for some weird reason, I just had an urge to just knock out the campaign, just knock it out, just experience it, and then enjoy the rest of the game. And so I sat down that first night, and I plowed through half the campaign, and then I played a little bit of multiplayer. And then the next night, I come home from work, and I plow through the remainder of the campaign, and then I played a little bit more multiplayer. And then all weekend, I just played a lot of multiplayer, a little bit of zombies, a lot of multiplayer, a decent amount of this end game mode we'll talk about. And usually I try not to play video games Mondays through Thursdays, like during the work week. But even like on Monday this week, I was like, fuck it. I got home from work and told my girlfriend, like, I don't want to cook. I don't want to do the dishes. I don't want to do shit. I just played Call of Duty for 3 hours. And it was nice. She hopped on with me and we played together. It was fun. But here's the thing is, this game's campaign... I should have written this down because I don't know how I want to approach this. Remember when Modern Warfare 3 came out 2 years ago? And what they did, it was like Modern Warfare 2 came out, and then immediately the next year is Modern Warfare 3. And like the conversation was like, oh, well, Modern Warfare 2 was a game that was in development for like 3 or 4 years, and they put a lot of love into it, and that's a very content complete, fully realized, stem to stern, like high production game. And then Modern Warfare 3 was like, Infinity Ward gave Sledgehammer the keys to the franchise and said, hey, you got like 9 months to figure out how to fucking slap together a direct sequel to this game we just put 4 years of our lives into. And then you got Modern Warfare 3, and there were some good things. The multiplayer was surprisingly fun, but it was a lot of reused assets and remade maps from old games and this shitty slap together Warzone campaign that sucked and had this incomprehensible stupid ass story that kind of shits all over the story of the previous Modern Warfare game, and it just like wasn't there. It was a very slap together last minute game. The thing is, I predicted that this was going to be different because with Black Ops 6 and 7 coming out back-to-back years, like 2024 and 25, I suspected this was going to be different because with Modern Warfare 2 and 3, it was Infinity Ward making Modern Warfare 2 for like 3 or 4 years, and then Sledgehammer making Modern Warfare 3 for like less than a year. This is different. This was Treyarch and Raven taking 4 years to develop Black Ops 6 and 7 alongside each other in tandem. And so when Black Ops 6 came out last year, it had really great gunplay, a really great foundation, a really solid campaign, but it wasn't quite there. And then it was kind of just disappointing in terms of the aesthetic and the tone. And it didn't land everything 100%. It was like on paper a great Call of Duty, but it was missing a little bit of that something. There's some sauce to Black Ops 6 where it was like, I should love this game, but I just don't quite love it. Whatever that was, I took that as, oh, so this is like the opposite, where the game that we get first, Black Ops 6 in this case, is going to be kind of like the more slapped together secondary project, because the bulk of this 4-year development cycle is actually meant to serve Black Ops 7, which is their game 2 on year 2 of their back-to-back release schedule. So I was suspecting that is what we were going to get with Black Ops 7. And I think I am like 50% right on that, because the multiplayer in this game is phenomenal. Zombies so far are very, very good. The campaign is dog shit. And what's important to note is that Raven is heading the campaigns nowadays on Treyarch games, and Treyarch is mostly just heading up multiplayer and zombies and stuff like that. And then I think Raven does a lot of the Warzone shit, but I don't care about Warzone. If we're ever talking about Call of Duty, just forget about Warzone. Warzone is dumb poopy butt. So yeah, the thing is, and I love Raven. Raven's a developer I have a lot of appreciation for, and so this pains me. In fact, what really pisses me off actually is that Black Ops Cold War was such a great Black Ops game in that it felt like Raven really understood how to take Black Ops after 3 and 4 and all this other shit. It felt like Raven knew how to take Black Ops and bring it back to the spirit of what the original Call of Duty Black Ops game was in 2010. And then Black Ops 6 was like, ooh, this is almost there, but it's kind of missing something. And then Black Ops 7 is like, oh God, you should not be allowed to ever touch this franchise again. This is horrible. So, all right, let's just get into it. So, they bill it as a co-op campaign. I actually kind of appreciate that they're like, oh, maybe we have less time to develop the game or something. I don't know. And so what they try to do is flip the script and do something a little different. And so you get these, like, it feels almost like Destiny, where it's like the campaign is like these co-op multiplayer missions. Some of them are linear. Some of them take place in Avalon, which is like the new Warzone map. But they're very much like Destiny strike missions. And it's like you and up to 3 friends play. And it's story driven. There's tons of cutscenes and everything. But it's just the gameplay feels like Destiny. It's like unlocking little light puzzles and blasting panels to get doors open and destroying waves of sponge boss enemies. And then at the end of the mission, there's a sponge boss, like a spongy bullet sponge. That's the term I'm looking for. A bullet sponge boss at the end of the level. And on top of that, the story is just such fucking dog shit. I mean, the story is literally this. You play as Alex Mason's son, David Mason, 10 years after the events of Black Ops 2. He's like, we killed Raul Menendez. I remember I killed him. And then a video surfaces online, and it's Raul Menendez. And he goes, you thought you killed me 10 years ago. I'm not dead. And then there's a CEO for this company called Guild, which, if you remember anything in Black Ops 6, was a company that they kind of set up in the background as like the bad guy. But you probably don't remember that because Black Ops 6 was a little bit disappointing. And then it just cuts to the CEO, and she's like, I'm the CEO, and I'm the bad guy. It's like I'm only kind of embellishing here, like, and I don't care if I'm spoiling this game for anyone. As a side note, this game is horrible. This game should, like, I want to be very clear. If I'm spoiling this game for you, don't worry, don't get offended, don't be upset. This game spoiled something for me, and it was my appetite to live. And so I just want you to know that there's nothing to spoil here. This game is dog shit. I mean, quite literally, the opening cutscene is like the CEO of this company basically being like, hi guys, I'm the bad guy. My job is to be, an opposing force to the good guys. And then all of a sudden, David Mason is being tasked with this, to infiltrate this company called the Guild with these 3 fucking side characters, 2 of which you've never fucking heard of, and 1 of which is just a side character from Black Ops 2 who's just randomly back. It actually feels like Halo 5 when Buck was in Fireteam Osiris, and everyone was like, oh fuck yeah, Buck from ODST is back, he's with Fireteam Osiris. Why is that again? And the game just doesn't tell you why. You gotta read a book to find out. It's kind of the same thing. I forget the guy's name. It's that one like southern dude who's like all hoorah. He's with David Mason in this game, and it's like, why are we in a JSOC squad together? I don't fucking know. Then there's this like cool girl from Australia with like braids and a robot leg and shit, and she's like, I'm a badass and I'm a woman. It's like, okay, 2016, welcome to the game. And then there's one other character, and he's just like generic dude, and I forget his name because he's just a generic fucking dude. And so he's in the game, and it's like the game literally just goes, it's like, oh yeah, Raul Menendez died 10 years ago, but he's back now, and here's the Guild. They're bad guys. Don't even worry for a second if they're bad guys or not. We're just going to tell you straight up, they're the bad guys. And then the game starts, and you're just busting in their fucking facility to find out why they're such bad guys and why Raul Menendez is alive again. And then they're like, oh, Raul Menendez isn't alive. We just created toxic gas that's red that we kind of teased in Black Ops 6, and it's a knockoff of the gas from the original Black Ops game, and that's just going to make you hallucinate and see things that aren't real. And then the rest of the fucking game is just a series of hallucinations used to make some shitty ass Call of Duty Black Ops 2 greatest hits throwback. You know when you're watching a sitcom and you're on season 8 or 9 and they just do one of those episodes where it's really fucking lazy, where they're like, we need to buy some time for the studio. So there's like a flashback episode where they're just like, it's like the characters and they're in the living room, like, remember the time I tripped on soap? And then it like does a flashback to season 2, episode 4. And it shows a bit where someone slips on soap and they're like, that's not as crazy as the time in episode 17 of season 4 where I fucking ate cereal, but it turns out it was dog shit. It's like this game is essentially a Call of Duty version of that sitcom episode that's just flashbacks, and it's that, but with like this stupid hallucination twist where it's like okay, now it's David Mason's turn to have a hallucination. So it's like, oh my god, my dad's still alive. Oh my god, fucking Frank Woods is still alive. And he's like, no, I'm not really Frank Woods. I'm a hallucination. Now I'm a giant piranha plant from Mario Bros. Shoot me in the fucking face like a Destiny bullet sponge bad guy. And then you and your squad shoot the bullet sponge bad guy. And then he dies. And then you fight Raul Menendez. And he's like, get a score streak and drop a sword on my face while Latin music blares in the background. And then you do it. And he's like, I died. And it's so funny because honestly, this is the first mission in a Call of Duty game where I'm reminded that the people that make Call of Duty are the people that used to make Tony Hawk games, because it looks and plays and it has the shitty animation of like a 2003 Tony Hawk game. So that's funny as hell. And then it's like, then the girl has a hallucination where everyone's like, you're not fit to be a soldier, you're a woman. And she's like, I'm strong, I'm a woman. And then she like overcomes an obstacle and the whole team is like, be strong, you can do this. And then the generic throwaway guy is like remembering at the end of Black Ops 2 where you fly a plane and the president is under attack. And he's like, oh, I don't want to relive that day ever again. And then you relive another memory where David Mason's remembering when his father, Alex Mason, taught him how to shoot a gun. He's like, remember to use the safety, son. And they're like, it's not real, don't fall for it. And then at the end of the game, you fucking take care of the tear gas, you fight 4 robots, and you tell the fucking CEO of the guild, you're a bad guy and you're going to jail. And then the game ends. And that's the fucking game. It's the stupidest shit ever. It's an insult. It constantly spits in the face of all the cool stuff from Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 from back in the day. It pisses on your fond memories of this franchise. It's a piss poor excuse to bring back amazing characters from Black Ops 2 like David Mason and Raul Menendez. And so it's just an all-around giant slap in the face. Not to mention, first of all, I kind of think it's cool that it does like more of these Destiny style missions. I think it's a cool way to experiment with Call of Duty and do something different. I'm up for that. The problem is that you can't play this game solo. If you choose to play it without matchmaking, without matching you up with random people to play, it will put you in a game where you don't have AI. So you'll be playing the levels and all 4 members of the squad will be chatting with each other, but it's just you playing alone. And there's no difficulty selector. They got rid of regular, hardened, and veteran and all that shit. And it's just regular Destiny difficulty, live service, multiplayer, looter, shooter difficulty. That's the only difficulty. And you can just play it either alone or matchmake online with other people and play it with them. And it's fucking bullshit. There's just no CPUs at all, or what are they called? Comms. No AI. Like in Halo 5, if you weren't playing with your friends, you would just have comm players for fucking Val and all the other blue team members and all that shit. So it's like, I don't understand why in this game that's not an option. It's just fuck you. You either play alone or you play with a bunch of strangers who keep voting to skip the cutscenes. It's like, what the fuck is this? It sucks, man. It sucks. There's no difficulty selector. And, if someone times out during a game or you leave during the middle of a mission, you don't get checkpoints. You just restart the last level. So the game sucks. It has shitty boss fights. It has slapped together levels. It has an incomprehensible dog shit insulting story that literally reduces the value of previous Black Ops games that mean a lot to you. So it literally waters down the love that we have for the Black Ops series. It's just horrible all the way around. I cannot tell you how much I hate this game's campaign. It's really bad. But that being said, once the game is over, it launches you into Avalon, which is the new Warzone map. And thus begins this new mode called Endgame, which actually, as of the day we're recording the podcast, they just announced they're going to release it separate from the campaign beginning this weekend, so you won't have to play the campaign in order to access this Endgame mode. But Endgame is basically just Modern Warfare Zombies from Modern Warfare 3 or DMZ without the PvE experience or PvP experience. It's all just PvE. So you're dropped in the Warzone map. You have nothing. You loot around, you find some items, and then you just run around the map and you can go in zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, or zone 4. Each zone is progressively harder. And you just go through the zones and you fight this boss here, open this crate here, retrieve this thing here, and you just go to random checkpoints all over the map and do these little missions. And every time you do a mission, it's like, great, upgrade point. Do you want to get upgrade A or upgrade B? You choose an upgrade, and it's like, great. Then you do the next thing, your combat level increases. And then you go to zone 2 and you're like, okay, combat level increased again. Do this mission, combat level increase. Get this upgrade, combat level increase. Grab this loot, get this upgrade. And it's like Vampire Survivors or like Ball Pit, which is a game we're about to talk about, where it's just like this roguelike. Every time you do a little mission, you get a dopamine hit of a level up. You get a new a new upgrade of some sort, new equipment, and then you just get more and more powerful so that you can go into zones 2 and 3 and 4. And then after the 45 minutes of the match, you can exfil or fight a boss or leave or whatever. And it's just a fun PvE, roguelike, open world, like dick around shoot kind of multiplayer experience that you can do by yourself or with your friends. And it's a lot of fun. It's really actually a lot of fun. If you like, it clearly, what was that mode in Black Ops Cold War? It was a zombies mode called Outbreak. If you liked Outbreak and you liked Modern Warfare zombies, this is like an evolution of those ideas with a lot of inspiration from games like Ball Pit or Vampire Survivors. And it's a lot of fun. It's very pick up and play, turn off your brain, shoot some shit and have some fun. And you can grind multiplayer XP and you can unlock camos and you can do all that shit in this mode. So it's a really fun new added way to enjoy this game. I actually like it quite a bit. I think it's really, really cool. And I hope they continue to develop it over the seasons and add more content to it because I really think this is an awesome add for Call of Duty. The multiplayer, the best. It's so fucking good. I know a lot of people like to bitch and moan about the skill-based matchmaking thing. Listen, they added persistent lobbies. They've greatly reduced skill-based matchmaking, and they have this new mode. I forget what it's called, but it's basically a replacement for Capture the Flag. It's the new signature mode of this game, and I'm so glad it's here because I miss Capture the Flag in Call of Duty. So thank God they brought it back. I forget what it's called. It's called like, I forget what it is. It's like there's like some device, and you got to run and capture it and score it in the other team's base. It's literally just like one flag CTF, but it's so good. The maps in this game are crazy. The game has like 16 or 18 maps, some Black Ops 2 remake maps, but mostly brand new maps. The maps look great. It's everything that was wrong with Black Ops 6 is fixed in this game. Black Ops 6 had these shitty, uninspired, tiny ass 3-lane maps with no variety and no heart and soul. This game has tons of maps. Some are big, some are small, some are medium sized. They have tons of different like alcoves and little areas you can explore, doors, hidden pathways, different ways you can maneuver the maps. They feel interesting and fun to explore and maneuver and work and learn about. They all are just visually interesting as hell. There's like that one that takes place in that cabin in Alaska that's awesome. There's a bunch of future tech facility looking ones that are awesome. There's just tons of really cool maps in this game. Lots of snowy maps, which I'm always a fan of. I think this game has some of the best maps we've seen in Call of Duty in all of the post-Modern Warfare 2019 Warzone era Call of Duty. This game just has some fantastic maps. The persistent lobbies and the reduced skill-based matchmaking, I didn't think I was one of the people that wanted this. I was one of the people that was like, the internet needs to shut the fuck up. Skill-based matchmaking is not what killed Call of Duty. Calm down. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not smart enough to be able to identify this on my own, but now playing Call of Duty, knowing that skill-based matchmaking has been reduced and knowing that we have persistent lobbies, Call of Duty feels and plays a certain way that I didn't remember that we ever moved away from. In fact, I'm playing this game, I'm like, this kind of feels like what it felt like to play Black Ops 2 in 2012 when it was a brand new game. This kind of is what I remember Call of Duty feeling like 10, 15 years ago. And I didn't realize how much of the persistent lobby and open matchmaking system really contributed and made or broke that experience. And, you know, there's still tons of games where I'm getting my ass kicked and it sucks. And there are tons of games where I'm doing pretty good, but I'm never doing excellent because I'm not that good at Call of Duty. But I'm always having fun. I just think the maps are great. The gunplay feels great. The ability to bounce off walls, by the way, is a very subtle addition that you can pretty much just ignore. It doesn't really affect the game that much. So anyone telling you that this game is full of double jumps and jetpacks and crazy maneuverability, shut the fuck up. If anything, this game feels more toned down from Black Ops 7. The slide is shorter and briefer. They got rid of tac sprint unless you use a certain perk. So everyone just normal runs in this game. It's really good. It feels fantastic. The guns look awesome. The camos in this game are so good. Tons of Black Ops 2 camos return in this game. There's weapon procedures. There's all these new camos and prestige systems. It is so addicting. The maps are great. The guns are great. The gunplay feels great. The movement feels great. The skill-based matchmaking system is way better. The persistent lobbies are great. This game's multiplayer is everything I fucking want in Call of Duty. It is so good to the point where I was expecting Battlefield to be, you know, of the two, since that's the conversation in shooters right now is Battlefield or Call of Duty. I was expecting for me to be like, yo, Black Ops 7 is pretty good, but I gotta be honest, Battlefield 6 is my shooter for 2025, no doubt. I don't know if I still believe that because I love Battlefield 6 and I still plan on playing a lot of Battlefield 6 in the future. But Black Ops 7 is actually even better than I thought it would be. And let's be honest, you know, you see everyone online shitting on Black Ops 7 about what a piece of crap game it is. last I checked, I'm one of like 6 people in the universe that gives a shit about Call of Duty campaigns. So don't fucking act like the campaign is what makes or breaks these games. What people care about in Call of Duty is the multiplayer, first and foremost. Second is zombies. Okay, so let's not act like the campaign is why you would or wouldn't purchase this game. The multiplayer, which is the core component, is phenomenal. It's like an A+ Call of Duty from its multiplayer standpoint. And then again, I don't want to get too much into the zombies because I haven't played too much of it, but this new transit-inspired map where you build this pickup truck and you drive it around from this part of the map to that part of the map, and every part of the map has different components, and this like progression system is super cool, and the game just looks and feels like zombies again. It doesn't have that Warzone feeling that the last few Call of Duties have had. It feels like Call of Duty Zombies. And it's just so, dude, it's so good. I'm just super stoked with how great the most important parts of this game turned out. I just think if this game had no campaign at all, it would be a great game that I would have gone, man, I wish we had a campaign with this game. But what a great game. And if it had a good campaign, I'd be like, this is a top 3 Call of Duty of all time. I'm sorry, but this is just such a great Call. I don't know about top 3, maybe top 5. Because the trifecta is always going to be World at War, Black Ops 2. Nothing's ever going to beat those 3. But this is definitely better than Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, Black Ops 6. No doubt about that. Instantly. I mean, it's not hard to be better than Black Ops 6, and I think Black Ops 3 is incredibly overrated. But Black Ops 4 is a good game, but it's not the best. So I think this game easily becomes the de facto best Black Ops game outside the original trilogy of World at War 1 and 2, which is always, just this goated, untouchable trilogy. But man, I love this game. I think I'll have to stop talking about it here because I'm just exhausting myself. But I can't wait to go back to playing this game this weekend. I'm just going to play so many hours of it. And it just breaks. It's disappointing that the internet is so incapable of having nuanced and thoughtful conversations, and for people to just be honest and come up with their own opinions based on their own experiences, because it's not that I need other people to say Black Ops 7 is a good game to justify why I like it. That doesn't matter. What makes me sad is I know there are a lot of people who really appreciate and enjoy this game if they had the ability to think for themselves and make their own decisions instead of wait for their favorite YouTuber to tell them what to think and feel. And it's just, like I've had Call of Duty's, it's one of those weird series where like, I'm a hardcore gamer. I'm very tuned into the games industry, right? And I fucking love Call of Duty. And then Call of Duty is also a game that appeals to very casual people who only play Call of Duty or only play Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto and Madden, very casual stuff, right? Like the kind of gaming that your coworkers might do. And so, this is a game I've gotten to talk to a lot of people anecdotally about because people I work with and people I interact with on a day-to-day basis are tuned into Call of Duty because they play generic shooter games like Call of Duty. And everyone is just so down on this game. And it sucks because I think a lot of people are not buying this game and are not playing this game and are just robbing themselves of what a great multiplayer experience it is because they're just trying to regurgitate the thing. I mean, this is how we ended up with a country like the one we have right now, where everyone's always voting against their best interests because people don't actually want to learn and think for themselves. They just want to regurgitate the easily accessible, digestible TikTok opinion that was fed to them the second the algorithm loaded up. And so that's why we're going to have this narrative that Black Ops 7 is the worst Call of Duty of all time, when in reality, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is just a really shitty campaign with an otherwise excellent game attached to it. Let's see. And that being said, I think there's one other thing I was going to say, but I don't know. I might be done there. But yeah, it's a really great game, and it does seem like it's underperforming, which I gotta say is incredible. It looks like actually for once Battlefield might be able to dethrone this game. I know people keep pointing to the Steam numbers, but let's be honest, if you're on PC, you're probably playing Call of Duty by subscribing to Game Pass for a month or something. I don't really care about that. What I want to see is I'll be really curious in December. What were the sales numbers for this game? How does it chart on the NPD or Circana numbers? And what's the engagement look like for this game? Because are people really just totally giving up on Call of Duty this year? That's fucking crazy. That does not bode well for what a GTA 6 could do for something like a Black Ops 4 next year. It is very rare that Call of Duty does less than amazing. And so I'm really curious to see how this game is actually performing relative to the absolute abysmal discourse online surrounding the game, which I suspect is much more dire than the reality of how this game is performing, mind you. But anyway, that's Black Ops 7. Fucking love this game. The other game I've been playing, I just kind of impulsively downloaded this the other night, and that's Ball Pit. I know this game's been out for like a month now, and I've heard nothing but great things about it, but I love Vampire Survivors. I think Vampire Survivors is a lot of fun, and I just keep seeing and hearing about Ball Pit. I'm like, yo, for 15 fucking bucks, this will be a really good game for me to just download on the Switch 2, and then every night before bed, I can play 20 minutes of it as I nod off and just kind of like whatever. But I literally downloaded this game on Sunday night about an hour before I went to bed, and my girlfriend came out of the shower, and I was like, hey, can you come over here real quick? And she comes out and she's like, what's up? I was like, I just downloaded this game. I need you to do me a favor. Remember that Vampire Survivor game like 2 years ago? And she's like, yeah, that game was fun. I like that game. I was like, yeah. Hold this controller for 20 seconds. You're about to be addicted to this game. She goes, okay, what is it? And I just like gave her 2 seconds of instructions, and immediately she was hooked on this fucking game. And for those who don't know, Ball Pit is, there's really two sides to what the game is, but I don't give a shit about the fucking Stardew Valley farming side of it. Fuck that. I just care about the actual core gameplay of the game, which is, it's a brick breaker, but it's a roguelike brick breaker where you just fucking start in the match and you have this ball and you just fucking hit it at these hordes of enemies, like Space Invaders, and the enemies are just moving down the map closer and closer to you. And every time you collect enough XP points that just fall all over the map as enemies die, you just collect the XP points, and then immediately you quickly level up. And it's like, do you want this perk or this perk? And you pick a perk. And then you do it again. It's like, do you want this perk or this perk? And after a couple minutes, you're playing like twice as fast. You have all these different perks. You got like 45 balls shooting in all different directions. And some of the balls have different powers and abilities. And like this one can move through enemies. And this one will attack enemies in an entire row. And this one, every time it hits a wall, has a chance of splitting into 3 smaller balls, which they call baby balls, which I think is hilarious. That's what the game literally calls them. And it's fun as shit. First of all, a classic brick breaker game is just an arcade classic. I love shit like that. I think Arkanoid is the classic brick breaker. Not that I grew up playing that game, but I played many brick breakers throughout my time, and I love that genre. It has a very Space Invaders feel as well, with like the way you engage with enemies, and then it has a very Vampire Survivor hit, like dopamine hit of like, it's an arcade fun instant pick up and play classic, but it's also got that just dopamine hit of like modern gaming where it's like, ooh, upgrade, level up, unlock skill, try this, do that, you did great, here's this, now that. And it's just immediately so fucking fun. This game is an absolute joy to play, and I mean I've probably only played like maybe 2 hours of it across past couple nights, again just 20 minutes before bed, nodding off, playing a little bit of this. But this game is an absolute treasure. It's an absolute treat. And in between matches there's a stupid little fucking Steam like Gen Alpha fucking little mode you can do where it's like you put a patch of grass here and put a barn there, and then you press start on the day, and then your character will collect and harvest wood and grass and wheat and shit, and then you can use that to level up your character. And I don't care. I just skip right past that shit and say, that's dumb, I don't care. Throw me back in the game. Let's do some more brick breaking. And the game is just so much fun. If you're looking for a little $10, $15 pick-me-up game that's going to keep you hyper addicted to whatever device you want to play it on, because this is on every platform, highly recommend Ball Pit. I'm playing it on my Switch too, but it's available on Xbox, it's available on Steam, it's available on all the things. That Switch 2 controller just has such an incredible D-pad. It's like, I can't not use that one. So anyway, that's it for what I've been playing. So Black Ops 7, Ball Pit. Let me know what you guys think. If you're playing Black Ops 7, I would really love to hear from you, because I suspect that those who are taking the time to actually give this game a proper try, especially you Game Pass subscribers out there, I suspect people are pleasantly surprised with how good this game is, and that it's just a lot of online negativity, as always, winning over everything else. So guys, that's going to do for all the news and everything whatnot this week. Let's just round out the show with the best and last section, the comments and shoutouts. We got 8 comments this week. You guys really want to talk about Steam Machine, so we'll get into it now. But just as a reminder, if you don't mind leaving a 5-star review on your favorite podcast service, it would help a shit ton. I'd really appreciate it. And you can go to youtube.com/XboxOnPodcast, click on the latest episode, and that's where you can leave a comment if you want to participate in the show. I always welcome all types of write-ins, so let me know. All right, guys, our first Write-in of the week comes from Compassionate Choice LLC, who says, last week had too much political speak. I love you, but please less of this. Also, the Steam Machine seems very enticing. I think we're going to see a lot of that sentiment as we continue on the comments, because, yeah, a lot of you guys are really excited about the Steam Machine and have a lot to say about it, and really, I think it's a really relevant piece of tech for us as Xbox fans, no doubt. As for the political speak, I do just want to address that. I agree. I could feel that it was very out of place, too much political speak. Here's the thing, man. We have a segment on this podcast every week where I halt and intentionally chop up the pacing of the show to tell you about the food I've been eating. And even with that segment every week, I'm always like, let me be careful not to go too long on this, especially these days, because I'm like, it's a fun, it's a funny bit. Maybe it's tired. Maybe we should retire it from the show at this point. But it's a funny little bit that's like, oh yeah, Xbox this, Xbox that, and this happened in the news. By the way, I was eating Taco Bell this week. Anyway, here's what I'm playing. I think it's a funny little bit. And this show is known for its rants and its tangents and talking about Disney World, especially back when I used to be more involved in theme park shit, just constantly talking about, like, this week I was at Universal and I fingered Shrek in the butthole, stuff like that. Or like, oh, I was at Disney World riding Tron for the billionth time. And there's a lot of nonsensical, unrelated banter in this podcast that goes on. And one of those topics that comes up from time to time is political shit. And I just want to be very clear from the perspective of, this is a podcast that sometimes gets off topic and just talks about nonsense. I don't mind that political shit comes up, because sometimes it's just a relevant thing to jump off of based on something else we're talking about. Sometimes it's straight up relevant to the news. I honestly, I don't remember what the fuck I was talking about politically last week, but I do know that you're right. I did go on some kind of tangent for 20 minutes or so about it. The truth of the matter is, I guess what I'm trying to get to is, this show is always just going to be what it is. I make $0.00 every week on the existence of the show. It is purely something I put my own labor into, just for the satisfaction of creating something, putting it out there into the world, and feeling great when you guys interact with it. That's all that this show is. And so there's no rules. There's no one it answers to. There's nothing it's beholden to whatsoever. And so this is a show where I'm allowed to talk about how we believe in a God, that we're okay with the fact that he murders children. And I live in a country that voted for us to deport legal, innocent residents. And then we're wondering why our government is so fucking broken and corrupt. And we're, we enabled for the second fucking time in a row. Well, not in a row, for the second time, a man who is an actual convicted felon / pedophile, and we're just okay with that. And so, sorry, sometimes, maybe sometimes it fits with the story, with the news, and sometimes it's out of pocket and it's just kind of me being a fucking dumbass. But that is that is what makes in my opinion, that is what makes this show special. And it's also what makes this show completely fucking stupid and inaccessible, which is that it's just the show that I want it to be, that it just happens to be, that you guys allow it to be. It's an Xbox podcast where sometimes we just talk about a whole lot of things that aren't Xbox. And I just want to be clear. I think that feedback is really important, and I appreciate Compassionate Choice that sometimes I do maybe need to reel it in and try to stick a little bit more to the Xbox stuff, just so that I'm not getting too long in the tooth about, like, the off-topic stuff. But at the same time, I want to make it very clear that I'm not going to intentionally reel it in because it's like, oh no, I'm being political. I don't want to, I don't want to turn people off by being political, because just one of the things that, like, arbitrarily just annoys me. And in Compassionate Choice, I'm not saying you're saying this or that you're that guy. So I want to preemptively say this is just reminding me of that, but I'm not saying you're that guy. I just hate when people are like, stop getting political, or stop making X political, stop making video games political, stop making ice cream political, stop making, fucking the Epstein files political. It's like, listen, everything has a political connotation to it. Everything in this world is a response to inspired by, in some way, shape, or form, something that happens politically. It's the stuff that builds your society and makes our world go round. And I hate that we've allowed mainstream media and just like this fucking two-party system that controls our brains and the ways we're allowed to think and feel, to convince us that it's taboo to talk about politics. It's taboo to have feelings, because I just want to be very clear. When we get political on this show, like, I know I use vulgar language, but what I'm saying I know is inherently right because it's not an opinion. Like people who are human beings and live and have feelings and love people and want the best for the people they love and are trying to build a life for themselves and their family and want to live respectful, peaceful lives, do not deserve to be treated like animals. And animals don't deserve to be treated that way either. I should be clear. Don't deserve to be treated like property. This idea that we value one person's life over another because of the color of their skin or the border in which they were born is fucked up. And the fact that we have a country that is increasingly just like, oh, we can't talk about politics, but in secrecy and behind closed doors, we should all like enable absolute abject evil. That's okay. It's just weird. Like if we were living in a society where it was like, I think taxes should be higher, but you think taxes should be lower. You know what? Let's agree not to talk about taxes at the Thanksgiving table because I just want to be respectful and keep it peaceful. I would be like, okay, yeah, let's not talk about whatever. Let's keep it about Xbox. We don't got to get into taxes right now. But we live in a world where for some reason, at least right now, it's like, I think that we should be fucking stripping humans of their humanity and their rights. And you think that people shouldn't be able to get shot in cold blood or die because they have cancer and can't afford medical bills. So let's just all agree to be quiet because these are touchy subjects. It's like, no, there's nothing touchy about being a decent human. There's nothing touchy about the fact that our government and our corporations own us and that we are powerless and that we're all fucked and that every day of our lives, so it's like, these are things, it's like, yeah, whatever. You're getting too heated. You're getting too passionate. I know like younger generations think it's really cool to constantly try and pimp yourself as someone who's too cool to care about anything. But like, to me, these things are just going to naturally come out because we're going to talk about piece of shit corporations like Microsoft, because this is a show about a brand that Microsoft owns, right? This is a show where we're going to talk about fucking military shooters, which are inherently political because they're games based on American tax dollars funding wars in other countries and stuff like that. So unfortunately, the podcast is going to sometimes, rightfully so, get political, and sometimes it's going to get political because it's a fucking sad, broken world, and for some reason, the American people keep voting for everyone on the globe to keep suffering every day, and sometimes it's just going to come out because I just believe that we should live in a world where you're free to enjoy your Xbox because for some reason you have neighbors who think that it's wrong for certain people to have a fair, equal opportunity life, and that's it's pretty fucking concerning if you ask me. So, I guess a long story short, compassionate choice. I appreciate the feedback. I genuinely do. Anyone is free to let me know what they do and don't like about the show. I do value that feedback, but as long as we live in a world where we can have a pedophile and a rapist be our president, not once but twice, and just pretend like that's okay, and then act like the person who's acknowledging that fact is too extreme or too loud or bringing too much drama to the scene. Anytime we live in a world where that kind of behavior is normal and seen as like just like an everyday occurrence, like I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep bringing awareness to how kind of fucking crazy that is, right? It makes it a little hard to just be excited about Ball Pit when, a bunch of innocent people just got attacked today in Charlotte, North Carolina, a place that I've been many times, a place that when I was a little child who has no memory of the place, I used to live. And that's like fucking wild to me. I'm like, wow, I used to live there. My mom used to like fucking breastfeed me in Charlotte, North Carolina. And now people are being beaten in the streets and arrested for no fucking reason because we're welcoming fascism into the quote unquote land of the free. That's fucking wild. Anyway, back to Black Ops 7. Am I right? That campaign sucks ass. So I don't know. I'm sorry. Compassion Joyce, in trying to take your comment to heart and appreciate your feedback, I've ended up just being a dick and kind of doubling down on the thing you just asked me to do less of. So isn't that funny? In a way, I'm kind of pissing you off by bringing up the thing you just asked me to stop bringing up. And in a way, this podcast wouldn't have gotten political if you just didn't mention me being less political. I'm just kidding. No, but anyway, just all that to say, I guess, poo poo pee pee. I'm going to keep doing whatever the fuck I want on this podcast. Let's talk about the Steam machine, everybody. So anyway, Compassion Choice, you're a sexy motherfucker, and I hope you have a great week. Cronky writes in and says, the Steam On podcast, the Steam Clean podcast, the Steam Valve On podcast, the Steam Clean On Valve podcast, the Steam On Xbox On podcast. Okay, I got it. the Steamy Box Podcast. Cronky, I love you. I love you, little brother. I'm going to let you know all of these are horrible names. And Mr. Maug, you're a little bit better here, but you're missing the mark because you say, what about Steam Train or Steam Cloud or Water Vapor Podcast? Better. I like the Steam Train. Steam Train's a good name. I think Gaping Gabe, a Steam Machine podcast, is a way better name. It's just a name that makes sense to me. I love it. I also just fucking love that the internet instantly was like, oh, it's the Gabe Cube. I think that's just the cutest name for this device. I'm very happy that that's what we're going with. But I do want to, I know a lot of the comments are going to get into this, but let me just get ahead of this. This podcast is going to be an Xbox podcast or it's not going to exist, full stop. So let me just address that. But Mr. Maug writes in and says, the only thing Windows has over Linux gaming is anti-cheat support for multiplayer games. So I guess in a way, Call of Duty is exclusive to the Xbox, at least on the PC side of things. So maybe this is where I just read this, actually, where I just found this out this past week. Because Mr. Maug, this is what I was just talking about, which apparently, yes, Steam Machine and Steam Deck can't play Call of Duty because Linux gaming doesn't allow for the anti-cheat software that Call of Duty utilizes to run on Linux or whatever, so you can't play Call of Duty on Linux devices. So, I mean, again, that's a de facto massive hit, one in the camp for Xbox. And then you compound that with now Fortnite. That's pretty fucking big for Xbox. But you say, I'm also glad that they delayed Grand Theft Auto 6 to make sure it's polished. I think the next Call of Duty should also be delayed, though, because I'm going to play GTA 6 over it, and I'm addicted to COD just as much as you are, Jesse. Yeah, man, I mean, well, I would prefer... Dude, you know what? A perfect time for Grand Theft Auto 6 would be like June or January, or just one of those months where like usually nothing else is happening, but... I don't know, man. That's going to be a rough one. Modern Warfare 4 versus GTA 6. Obviously, GTA 6 is winning, but that's going to be a rough one for people like me because I'm going to want to play both. But Gabagool writes in. I think this is first time writing in, I want to say. Gabagool, thank you for writing in. Welcome. Says, I'm all in on Steam Machine. I own a Steam Deck and I love the shit out of it, plus its community. If the price is within reason for my disposable income, this is a great entry point for couch gamers, someone like me. They don't want to be at the computer desk. I hate to say it, but I'm all in. No, Gabagool, I mean, based on what you're saying, you sound exactly like me as well. Also, shout out to your profile picture. No, listen, Gabagool, I think you represent a lot of people who are interested in the Steam Machine, which is like, we all have Steam libraries. That's what makes this stuff enticing, is because Steam has been around forever. It's the de facto place to play PC games. There are often great games at cheap prices. And so, in one way or another, whether you're an Xbox fan or a PlayStation fan or whatever you are, we've all somehow, in one form or another, throughout time, just accumulated some kind of Steam library at one point or another. And so this kind of device sounds appealing to all of us because even if you're primarily an Xbox gamer, you have a Steam library. And the idea of a Steam Machine that's a console, you can plug it up to your TV and it's like an Xbox, but it's a Steam library, that's compelling. Same thing with the Steam Deck. It's like, wow, I can just take my Steam library and play it like I'm trying to play video games and not like I'm trying to file my taxes. That's fucking great. So, I mean, I totally see the appeal, and I'm right there with you, Gabagool. Like, throughout the week, I've actually been thinking a lot about the Steam Machine. I've been gobbling up all these YouTube videos, learning about it all I can, and listening to people talk about it and interpret the information. And this is a product I'm just really excited about. I don't think I'll buy it at launch. I don't know if I'll ever buy it, to be honest, but I'm very, very interested and moderately tempted to get involved in it because on paper, this is something that is really, really, really cool and really enticing. And I know last week I misheard somewhere that this device was probably around PS5 Pro spec, but quickly realized after I recorded that that's actually not the case. And a lot of you corrected that, so we'll get there. But apparently this thing is pretty weak, not weak, but like pretty like medium power. So hopefully that's an indication that the price point will be quite compelling. I'm kind of the belief that this might be a $500 to $600 box when all is said and done. We'll see. They can shave off some of the costs because Steam only sells their products direct to consumer. They don't middleman it with retailers like Best Buy and Target. So that's another way they can save money. That's one of the things that helps keep the Steam Deck cost down. So we'll see, but I think there's a possibility this is a $500 to $600 box when all is said and done. Wes H writes in, what's up, Wes? It's been a minute. He says, I hate to say this, but when, not if, Xbox stops making hardware, will you create a Steam Machine podcast, and what will you name it? Well, I guess we should have read this comment first. We did it out of order. But yeah, Gaping Gabe, a Steam Machine podcast. Absolutely. Also, reading Invincible comics right now, and they're awesome. Have a good day. Yeah, absolutely. You too, man. Good to hear from you. Invincible, I know it's a comic first. Don't come at me. I know it's a comic first. I know it from the Amazon TV series, the animated superhero show. But I'm guessing you're talking about the comic book series for that. I'm sure that is really good. I need to get back to Invincible, man, because I watched season 1 on Amazon Prime. I thought it was fucking great. And then I just never followed up when season 2 and 3 came out. So I need to get back to that, but glad to see you doing some comic book reading. Glad you're loving it, man. It's good shit. Hope you and the family are doing great. Jay Sevier writes in and says, in response to all this, and says, if Jesse moves on to another console-themed podcast, when Xbox finally pulls the plug, I'll be curious to see what he ends up choosing. My money at the moment is on Nintendo. You know, it's funny you say that, Jay, because I wouldn't, like, if Xbox disappeared tomorrow, I just wouldn't do a video game podcast, I don't think. Or if I did, it would be just like general video game stuff. I don't know. But if I had to do like one platform podcast, throughout much of my life, I think it would have been Nintendo, because I just have such a childhood boner for Nintendo. But I don't, in its current state, I don't think I'm enthusiastic enough, I don't think I'm involved enough with what Nintendo does today to do a weekly Nintendo podcast. I think I'd get too bored too easily if I did that. I mean, but it'd be, yeah, no doubt it'd be fun. Like I love Nintendo, and I gotta say, I was reflecting a little bit on this year. I am very, very grateful for this out of nowhere left turn that I took with Nintendo. I've not loved that the past 5 years or so have been very adversarial and very bitter, my feelings towards Nintendo, and just something about this like opportunity to have a fresh start with the Switch 2 and everything has been a really nice experience, because I love Nintendo. They're such an important part of of my gaming history and my youth and everything, and my nostalgia and all the fun things. But man, I just really didn't like Nintendo the past couple of years, and I still have a lot of gripes with modern Nintendo. I still think there's a lot of areas of weakness, but overall, I think I'm mostly out of my bitterness phase, and I'm just enjoying the Switch 2. I'm really loving kind of like re-falling in love with it's like The Parent Trap. We rewatched The Parent Trap not too long ago, a couple months ago, and I was wondering that I feel like The Parent Trap does such a piss poor job of explaining why the mom and the dad ever split in the first place. I feel like that's kind of like my relationship with Nintendo, where it's like I don't really know why we split in the first place, but we did, and I'm just glad that we're back together. So anyway, thank you Splatoon and Mario for setting us up on that date so we could rediscover our love or whatever the fuck. Anyway, Cargo Runner replies to this as well and says, Xbox is already more of a store than a hardware device that we all love. I think they will add the Xbox experience to every Windows 11 PC, so we may need to be on a different device next gen, but are we going to switch from Xbox Store to the Steam Store? Game Pass will still be a great way to play lots of games cheaply. The Xbox On podcast will still be 100% relevant, even with no first-party hardware. The only reason for the podcast to change is if Jesse switches from the Xbox Store to the Steam Store. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. The thing is, I don't want to like the Steam Store because it feels like a fucking webpage. Yeah, I mean, it's early days. Calm down. It's early days. I would say there is more than there is a more than 1% chance that, I'm not talking about this year or next year, that sometime in the future I slowly transition over and just kind of become a PC gamer, a Steam library gamer. There's a non 0% chance that happens. But I'm not betting on it. My plan is to stick around with Xbox as long as there's an Xbox to stick around with. The big thing for me is I want first party developed hardware. Like, listen, I know I've been hard on the Xbox Ally. I know there are people who love the Xbox Ally. I'm happy for those people. It's just at the end of the day, I want Microsoft to make Xbox hardware for me to access my Xbox library. And as long as that's an option, I'm good. Give me the Xbox storefront, give me the Xbox ecosystem, give me the Xbox software, and give me a Microsoft-made Xbox piece of hardware to access all of that on, and that's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for. You can take your Game Pass and shove it right up your ass. I just want Xbox. Cronky says, the Steam machine is going to dictate the pricing standard for the next Xbox and PlayStation console. If they somehow manage to hit the $600 to $800 price range, this is what the next gen will be. But I suspect we're looking at more of a $1,000 to $1,500 price range. Now, to be fair, I think this was written before we all kind of found out the Steam Machine's a lot less powerful than we thought. But I think they will hit the $600 to $800 price range. I think they'll probably hit about the $600 price range on this device. But I disagree with you. I don't think that it will dictate the pricing standard for the next Xbox and PlayStation. I think no matter what, the Steam Machine is going to have to be one hell of an overnight success for it to really have a big impact on what Sony in particular can do with PlayStation 6. Maybe have a bigger impact on what Xbox can do with the next Xbox console, because Xbox is becoming so niche at this point that it is kind of in the same a competitive realm as something like a Steam machine. But PlayStation is such a juggernaut that it does not matter what Steam does. It does not matter what Xbox does. People are going to PlayStation whether it's the most expensive or the cheapest or whatever. That arrogance from the PS3 era, you will get a second job to buy a PS3. That wasn't true of PlayStation then in 2005, but that is true of PlayStation in 2025. And so I just want to be clear about it. If PlayStation 6 device is an $800 box and the Steam Machine is $600, doesn't fucking matter. Just like it didn't matter when the Series S was $300 and the PS5 was $500. Doesn't fucking matter. The Woker Dead Captain James writes in and says, I think the new Steam console is too weak. They really need a higher spec one. I don't think people want to play 1080p games in 2026, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I think the thing about this is it's really an enthusiast device, and so they just wanted to find a way to make it as cost-effective and accessible as possible, just to kind of gauge what it would be like for them to have a successful home hardware system. And I think if this works out, much like how we got the Steam Deck OLED a year or two after the Steam Deck, I think a year or two after the Steam Machine, we'll get like a Steam Machine Pro or Steam Machine 2, shortly afterwards. It's just that I think they want to play it safe with this first iteration by buying less expensive, slightly more dated specs in bulk. Because, this is a huge financial risk when you're a company like Valve that doesn't make hardware to jump into hardware manufacturing. And so I think that's what it is, and that this device is a lot more to do with appealing to enthusiasts and a lot less with being like the most powerful place to play your games, especially because, I'm sure if anyone has access to this information more than anyone, it's Valve, that the majority of PC people are these insufferable spec beasts that build these insane rigs just so they can play fucking Stardew Valley and Among Us with their buddies. So it's also just that, like, just because the device is only going to be, roughly the power range of like a PS5 or something, doesn't mean that it's an underpowered device. You got to keep in context that we're in a point now where older generations of hardware are not going anywhere. We're still getting games regularly for Xbox One and PS4, and I suspect that in 4 years from now, when we're well into a PS6 generation, we're still going to be seeing plenty of support for PS5 and Xbox Series S and things like that. And so it's just important to note that if something like a Steam console is really underpowered because like PS6 and Xbox whatever are just going to eat this thing's lunch with their specifications in a year or two, it's just important to note that all those games that PS6 and Xbox whatever are going to be getting in 2-3 years will also be coming to things like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So if the Steam Machine is behind in power, I don't think that's a fucking problem. And I think remember, I think a lot of us are, we're long-term or lifetime gamers. And so we have this trained kind of perception of how console hardware works, because we grew up at a time where it's like the N64 came out and we're like, yeah, no way the Super Nintendo could do that. We were used to a time where the Xbox 360 came out and we said, there's no way an original Xbox could make a game like this, could run a game like this. But we're not in that era anymore. Next gen games come out all the time, like Call of Duty Black Ops 7, and we go, yeah, that could fucking run on a PS4, no problem. And then PlayStation puts out a new God of War game, and we're like, oh, look at this new God of War game exclusive for the PS5. And they go, actually, that game's also going to be on PS4 because it can run on whatever. And the most popular games in the world right now are games like Fortnite, which are mostly played on like fucking PS4. So it's just important to note that I think a Steam machine that is only in the power range of like a PS5 is actually like right on the money if you're trying to come up with a cost-effective enthusiast device that's going to be able to do like 99% of what people want it to do. And yeah, will it look and play the best? Absolutely not. But it's better to make this device accessible at $600 to a lot of people than pretty much gatekeep it to the top 1% of the top 1% by making it $1,500 and it's got all the fucking cores and processors and whatever infrared technology just for 6 people to fucking own it. So remember, you're trying to strike that balance of testing a niche product, making it accessible, making it affordable, and also making it good enough on the power front. So I actually think what they're doing with the console specs is kind of right on target. I don't think it's a problem at all, personally. And remember, this doesn't have to work the way a PlayStation or an Xbox does. It can work more the way like an iPhone works. And if they want to make a more powerful Steam machine in a year or two, they can just do that. They don't have to wait 8 years for Steam Machine 2 to come out. They can just do Steam Machine 2027 model or something like that and make it super fucking powerful if they want. So they're writing the rules to this as they go along. They don't need to play by any existing code, and I think that's important to remember. All right, our final comment of the week comes from none other than Cargo Runner UK, which I think this is the one where he corrects me on my specs thing, where he says, "Don't worry, Jesse, we will still need the Xbox On podcast in the next generation. Sorry. Even if we're all playing Xbox on different devices. Whatever Xbox does do, however bad the decisions they make, I somehow can't leave Xbox 100%. I'll always be chasing Xbox achievements and adding them to my gaming history." Dude, I fucking feel you with that, man. I really feel that because this past week while I was playing Black Ops, when you get a new game and you're playing a lot and you're just getting like achievement pops like every fucking hour or two, I was like, wow, I've been playing so much Battlefield 2042, and then after Battlefield 6 came out, so much Battlefield 6 on PC, on Steam. And when an achievement pops on Steam, I'm like, I don't give a shit, whatever. But then I'm playing Call of Duty after not playing a lot of Xbox in recent history, and like it's like bloop, and it's like beat this level, bloop, beat the game on hard mode, bloop, got whatever headshots in multiplayer, and every time that thing pops, I'm like, it's crazy. I've been earning Xbox achievements for fucking 20 years at this point, and I still get like all like a little hit of dopamine, a little smiley face in my heart every fucking time I hear that bloop sound, and then you get your little, it's like, 15 gamer score, and then it's like, this is the achievements popping up. I'm like, yeah, I did that. And I look at my gamer score, I'm like, 96,000. I'm so close to 100,000. Like, there's just, after all these years, I mean, listen, I love that PlayStation fans have their version with trophies and with their leveling system. It's more like RPG-like. I think there is something that is so simple and so satisfying about gamer score. I'll always love it. It's so cool. It's so simple. It's so classic. It's like that's your fucking high score. It's like my gamer score is just a giant fucking number that just basically says this stupid bitch has been playing Xbox for 20 years, and this number represents all the times they didn't get laid but instead made the game go bloop. And I'm like, that's fine by me. I love that number. I love that sound. I love achievements. I love it. Even though I'm not much of an achievement hunter these days, I just don't have the time or the energy for it. I still absolutely love popping achievements. And every time I play a game, I always have like a little personal challenge to myself where I'm like, I got to get at least 30 or 40% of the achievements in this game, because I can't stand to have a game in my library where it's like, oh, I beat that game. I played that game extensively. I completed it. But you only have like 10 or 15% of the achievements. Like, you got to have at least a dent in it, right? You got to have at least 30, 40, maybe 50% of the achievements unlocked, just to show that you gave a shit, just to show that you care a little bit, just to show that you really did play the game, even if you didn't do every single thing in the game. You played it pretty well, And so I'm right there with you, buddy. It doesn't matter if on PC or whatever. I just hope that we have an Xbox console in the future, that we can still buy games from the Microsoft Store and still play games on that Xbox hardware and still make that achievement toast pop and pop and pop, because I fucking love it. It makes me a happy boy, and it's the simple things in life that really bring us joy. So, Cargo Runner, I appreciate you. Dead Captain James, Cronky, Jay, Wes, Gabagool, Mr. Maug, and of course, Compassionate Choice. I appreciate all you guys so much. Thank you for writing in, and thanks to all of you for listening to the podcast. I'm going to go wrap it up, take a shower, get ready for bed, probably play a little ball pit while I lay down, And then, dude, tomorrow after work, fuck yeah, I'm playing Black Ops 7. I'm excited. I missed that game. So appreciate you all. Have a great day. And until next week, power your motherfucking dreams, baby.